packed everything that I owned, got in my car and left. Meanwhile, I'm like traumatized living back at my parents' house trying to like forget all about this. It's so crazy that people from like Australia, New Zealand, Europe were buying my art. I haven't had a hangover in 2 years. Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today's video is going to be more of a longer, chatty, sit down, get ready with me style video. I am going to let you guys in. I'm going to spill the tea, just kind of share a bunch of random things about me, just so you guys can get to know me. I don't know who's watching this or if anyone is really watching this, but I just wanted to put this up on my channel to look back on, and just, you know, as I grow on this channel, people can just get to know me more. So yeah, I'm really excited to sit down and talk to you guys. This is definitely going to be a longer video, so if you want to just put me on in the background or grab a snack, grab a drink, and come hang out, I would love that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Nothing gives me more of a dopamine boost than drinking that drink and looking forward to that drink. It's a rush that nothing will compare to. So starting off with my age, I am 25, about to turn 26 in less than 3 months. My birthday is August 4th, so I'm a Leo, and I've always felt like I identify as a Leo for sure. Like, if you ask me what the best sign is, I'm gonna tell you it's a Leo, of course. I think I'm very independent. I think I'm very loyal. I'm very passionate. I think there's a lot of like characteristics of Leos that I definitely express, but I'm not super into astrology or even knowledgeable about any of that stuff, so I can't really speak too much on that. I will say, like, anytime I do look into my like horoscope or what Mercury is in Venus, I really don't know, but it's always accurate. Like, it always makes sense. It's always in alignment with things I'm going through in my life, and I respect that. I currently live in Miami, Florida. I have lived here for just over 2 years, which is so crazy. I feel like I have lived here longer, to be honest, but I moved down here in February of 2023. So I moved down here when I got a job. I was living back home with my parents after college, and it was not it, girl. It was not the vibe. And I knew I didn't want to stay in my hometown. Like, I had always wanted to kind of live somewhere else, branch out, and my friend at the time was living down here. Okay, really quick, I want to try this Say highlighter. I haven't tried this yet. This is in the shade Rose Glow, and kind of got like a skincare feel to it. Like, it feels very like serum-y and very like water-based, very lightweight. Like, let's see if I can put this underneath my foundation. I think I'm just gonna put this all over my face. But yeah, I was visiting Miami a lot during the pandemic, and I honestly just needed a change. I needed somewhere to go, and so January of 2023, I was applying to jobs. I was an office manager for a social media marketing agency, and it really was just to kind of get my foot in the door. Like, I hadn't worked a corporate job before that. When I graduated from college, I was an environmental science major, and I was like going down a completely different path. Like, my dream job that I was like manifesting, praying to the Lord that I got, was just something out in nature. That I just wanted to live like out in nature, and I wanted to be in the conservation and sustainability field. Like, I was so passionate about that at the time, and that is what I wanted to do. And because it was such like a niche interest slash field, it was honestly really hard to find a job, but of course, I ended up finding a job. It was perfect at the time. Like, I manifested it. It was my dream job, and I'm grateful for the experience, but it didn't end so well, girl. Honestly, it was like kind of traumatizing. I basically worked on this backcountry lodge in North Georgia. Basically, it was like a little lodge up in the mountains that people could hike to, and they could stay at the cabin like overnight and hike back, or they could keep hiking. It was on the Appalachian Trail, so we had a lot of people that were hiking the Appalachian Trail, kind of like stopped there to sleep on the way. My job, my title was a naturalist, And so basically I lived on the property. All of the staff lived on the property. There was 8 of us, and literally sounds like a cult. And my job was basically to like check the guests in when they first arrived, and I would kind of give them like a rundown of everything. And then I would give the tour every day. At 5 o'clock we had a tour, and basically it was like half an hour. I would explain to them like all the history of the cabins and kind of just like the history of the grounds and everything. And then I would just kind of like walk them around the property. We ran completely off of solar. So we had like these huge solar panels. We were zero waste. So we did compost. I would like show them where we did that and everything. And then I would just have to like help with dinner. Like it was honestly kind of strange. We did like family style dinner. So there was like this one dining room that like everyone would come to at dinner time, which I think was like 6 or 7 o'clock or something. And there was like these 2 giant long tables, and like everybody that was staying at the lodge would come at dinner time, and they would all sit at these tables and like eat, and you would just like talk to the people that were staying there. And yeah, it was very like rustic. I was really into it at the time. When I first moved there, I was so happy. I was living my dream. Like I was out living in these beautiful mountains. There were so many hiking trails around. So like before work or on the weekends, like I would just walk around these trails, which looking back, I'm like, that's so sketchy. I did have bear spray on me, but still. After like a couple months, I was starting to get really lonely. I obviously didn't have any family or friends in Georgia, and the people that I worked with, they were all older than me, like late 30s and above. And don't get me wrong, I can make friends with anyone. I could literally talk to a wall and I could just make friends with any type of person. And so I did, but at the same time, it's like you still kind of need friends your age with like your similar interests and things like that. And so it was just hard. I just felt really lonely after a while. And unfortunately, I ultimately ended up leaving because my boss at the time was sexually harassing me. Like the whole time that I was there, it just got worse and worse and worse as time went on. I ended up actually leaving in the middle of my shift one day. I went back to my cabin, packed everything that I owned, got in my car and left. I stayed in a hotel and then drove home the next day. So yeah, that was really traumatizing. And then I had to like open a case, and there was like a whole board meeting, and the guy that owned the place, he was suspended, and like all the women that worked there went on strike. It was like a whole thing. Meanwhile, I'm like traumatized, living back at my parents' house, trying to like forget all about this. Yeah, it was just kind of insane. But anyway, so after that, I basically was like, okay, what now? I lived out my dream. I got my dream job and ended up hating it. So what are we gonna do? I felt like this was a very kind of healing and transformative time in my life because, you know, it was kind of hard having to move back home with my parents and just kind of start over, especially with like no experience. I was applying to jobs and it was nearly impossible to get one because, you know, I was still kind of like a new grad, but I didn't have a lot of experience, you know, and my experience and education was in a field that I didn't want to be in anymore. So I was just trying everything. I was like, okay, obviously I want something long-term. I want something that is going to be able to financially provide for me in the long term and be safe. And so that's when I kind of decided to take the corporate route. I think at one point I was kind of like against this whole corporate world. I wanted to just like be a hippie living out in the middle of the woods, I guess. I decided that it was best for me if I took the safer route, I guess, if you will. And so yeah, I honestly didn't end up finding a job for an entire year. So after I moved home and I was living with my parents again, I started a small business on Etsy, and it, little did I know, would change my life. Literally don't know what I would do if I didn't do this. It was like such a life-changing experience that I will forever be so grateful for, because I knew it at the time, and especially after, realized like how incredible and like rare it is to have something like that and for it to be successful. So my friend and I, we were going to a lot of festivals at the time, and if you have ever been to music festivals, or if you're just familiar with kind of the type of clothing people wear there, there's a certain type of clothing called slit weave clothing, which is basically, it's like braided clothing. So basically what we would do, we would take like any piece of clothing, leggings, tank tops, whatever, and we would fold it in half, cut slits in it, and then you would basically braid it, and you could braid it into different designs, patterns. I eventually ended up like adding jewels and different things to it. I would make like dresses, skirts, leggings, tank tops, crop tops, anything you can imagine. I would do custom orders, and I did that for like a little over 2 years. I have almost like 300 sales on Etsy. It ended up growing and being really successful, and it was perfect at the time because you know, it was a little bit of income, but it was keeping me busy. It was, you know, stimulating my creative side, and basically doing this small business for a while. And right when I moved home from this traumatic Georgia experience, I didn't like jump straight into applying for jobs. Like obviously I needed to rest and heal. And so I was doing this small business for a while and it was perfect. But obviously I was, you know, getting a little tired of living with my parents, living back home. I wanted to be independent again. And so that's when I was starting to look into other jobs. I wanted to be a project manager at the time. So fast forward a year, I ended up getting this job in Miami, and I moved down here, and it was like one of the best times in my life because it was something that I had been wanting for years. What felt like when I was home living with my parents for that time, it was the longest year of my life. It was really hard, and I struggled a lot mentally. So for me to finally be able to get out of that and move to another city, a big city at that, like I was so excited to move somewhere where there would be just opportunity and people, new people that I could meet. I felt like where my hometown was, there was nothing new. There was no opportunity. It's not like you could just walk out and have like this crazy new experience, you know? I think Miami is extremely opportunative. Like there's a lot of people that move down here that just want to grow and hustle, whatever it is that they do. When I first moved down here, it was just life-changing. Like everybody was so nice. I would go to work, I would get in the elevator, people would like talk to me, they'd be like, how do you like living in Miami? Just random people. It was so transformational. It was such a great time. And honestly, the first year of me living here was amazing. Then things weren't going so well at my job. And so I ended up leaving and I got a job in talent acquisition. I work remotely now, which completely changed my life again. I don't know what I would do if I didn't work remote, to be honest. It is the best thing I've ever done for myself, my mental health. Like the company that I work for is so incredible. I have the most incredible team. I've manifested this job and this type of job for so long, and to be able to have it's so rewarding and satisfying because I'm genuinely so happy and so grateful. Like every day I wake up and it's just like somebody could piss me off and I just like wouldn't care because I'm like, this job is so good. Like I have it so good and I'm so happy that like just nothing, you know, nothing could really shake me. It's funny because recently as I've started this YouTube channel and I've really been getting serious about content creation and making this, you know, into a career in the future, it's hard because I'm so excited about this now and this is so fun to me and it's just so exciting and fulfilling. So like it's kind of hard going to my job every morning. Like I love it, don't get me wrong, but it's not as like fun and exciting anymore. Like this is my new thing and this is what I'm putting all my energy into. It's always been a dream of mine. Like when I was 12 years old, I will never forget, it was when I was first getting into makeup and I was like obsessed with beauty gurus on YouTube. It was literally my escape. Like when I was a kid, I would literally just lock myself in my room every single day after school. I would get on my laptop, I would watch whatever videos were new. Like I watched all of the OG YouTubers religiously, and I was so into makeup at the time. I was so passionate about it, and I think that's why I loved it so much, because I loved this like creative, artistic content creation, but I loved the content itself. I was so passionate about makeup. For my age, the makeup collection that I had was not appropriate. Like I had so much makeup. I would go to Sephora every weekend. I would get like whatever new products they were recommending. I just loved playing with makeup, and of course I wanted to be a YouTuber just like them. And I will never forget, I had my mom's, I don't know what kind of camera it was, but it was like one of those Canon film cameras. I will find the videos.
Hi everyone, so I hope you enjoy it.
Because it is the funniest thing ever. I'm like, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I didn't even have a channel. Like there was no videos, there was no me posting. I was so little, I was so young, always wanted to be a YouTuber. And it's so sad because at that time, it would have never ever happened. I would have never been able to do it because I was so afraid of people finding out. Like in my middle school or my high school, like I was so terrified of somebody like finding me doing that on YouTube, which looking back, I mean, nobody would have ever found my channel. Like it just so, it's so sad. But I do think that like everything happens in perfect timing. And I have tried to do this in the past. Like a few years ago, I started a YouTube channel and I was making kind of more like spirituality. I did a couple of yoga classes and it just didn't stick. And eventually a year or two ago, I got on TikTok and I was making TikToks, and that didn't stick. I just didn't like the short form content and I was way too addicted to TikTok. I had to delete it. I deleted it like right before the ban happened. I couldn't go on it without like not being able to get off of it. There was no balance, and so I just like was like, okay, clearly this app is just not for me. Recently I just got like a very big, I guess, like wave of inspiration, and I've never felt more confident than now in doing this, and like excited and just passionate about it. And so as sad as it is that, you know, I didn't do this sooner or I couldn't follow my dreams when I was younger, I just don't think it was my time. But yeah, I basically have always wanted to do this, and it's just so crazy looking back and feeling like my younger self finally made it. This was a dream of mine that has always been with me, and I feel like everybody has this experience. You have a dream and it doesn't go away unless you act on it, especially if you're an artist, especially if you're a creative person. Like, I know this to be true, and I have found this to be true in my life, is like, as an artist, you can't live your life without creating. You can't live your life without some form of creativity or art. There's this book that I read a long time ago called The Artist's Way, and it talked about this and basically how, you know, people who are an artist or creative deep down, they will go their whole lives kind of repressing that and pushing it down, and they'll go on to become like a teacher or whatever, and then when they get older, they crash out, or they just go back to their artistic side, and they end up gaining so much success in that field. Yeah, it's just so true, because when I was working at my corporate job, I was really excited about it at first. Obviously, you know, came with a lot of novelty in the beginning, and then after a while I just was getting so burnt out. I didn't really have that outlet for creativity, and so I felt like I was dying. And then eventually, once I started working on my business again, because I did take a break when I first moved down to Miami, that was really helping me. And now, I mean, I feel better than ever that I get to do this. It's the first time that I've actually taken this seriously. I feel like before I was kind of like, oh, you know, if it happens, it happens, and I'll just kind of do it on the side and just kind of have fun with it, whatever. Like, no, now I'm like, this is going to be my full-time job. Like, I'm going to treat it as such. I'm going to wake up every day as if it is already my reality, as if, you know, I'm already doing this full time. And so I take it seriously now, and I plan out my content. I think that's why I feel so confident about it now, because I'm all in. I'm like taking it seriously. Oh my god, I feel like I've been talking so much and I haven't even finished my base. It's always so hard to choose a blush because I'm just obsessed with all of these. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about my small business, because I have decided to pivot into a different creative outlet there. Like I said, I was making slit weave clothing and it did really successful, but I ended up shutting that down, I guess a year ago. Actually, it was like May last year. I just couldn't keep up with it anymore. I was working full-time. I mean, I'm still working full-time, but I was actually working in an office 8:30 to 5 every day, Monday through Friday, and I would get all these orders, and it was so hard because, you know, obviously I'm like waking up, getting ready for work, going to work, coming back, I had to make dinner, I would go to a workout class, I would come home, I would be tired, I'd get ready for bed. There was such a small window for me to be able to create those pieces, ship them out, get them out on time. Like, when I was unemployed, I was literally shipping them out same day. Getting hard for me to keep up with, and I wasn't passionate about it anymore like I used to be. And I think because I'm not really like in the festival scene like I used to be, so the clothing didn't really resonate with me. It was like, at the time when I created it, I was like, ooh, I would wear all these pieces and it was fun to create new things and all that. And now I'm obviously not really into like the whole festival scene anymore. I just decided to let it go and do something new. I started making glass cups, the vinyl glass cups. If you know what I'm talking about, I'll put like a picture or something right here. but basically like those little beer can cups, I would wrap them in vinyl. I haven't actually started selling them yet. I literally just put the first couple up for sale a couple of days ago. So if you want to check those out, I'll put the link in the description. Shameless plug. I loved the experience of creating art for people just like around the world. Like, it's so crazy that people from like Australia, New Zealand, Europe were buying my art that I made from hand. Like, it was such a cool experience. I loved connecting with people. I loved making custom orders for people. Oh my gosh, it was so fun, and I want to keep doing that. Also, such a great side hustle. Like, the income was obviously very nice to have. Yeah, I love being a little entrepreneur, a little businesswoman, if you will. I highly recommend this to anyone. If you are like in any way artistic or entrepreneurial, like, start an Etsy. I'm not kidding. It was one of the best decisions I could have ever made, and they couldn't make it easier for you. They could not make it easier for you. Like, when I tell you, I barely did anything but like hashtags. People would just type in split weave clothing and my clothing would pop up on their feed. I'm also a certified yoga teacher. I got my 200-hour yoga teacher training completed in July of 2021. It was right after I graduated. I used all of my graduation gift money for this training. I had been wanting to do it for a while, and it was one of the best decisions I could have ever made in my life. I don't currently teach now. I mostly just practice, just because I don't really feel the call to teach. I think I don't think I forced myself to teach in the beginning. I just assumed that's what I wanted to do, and after I was teaching for about a year, it just felt really repetitive to me. I felt like I didn't really have the time to sit down and create all these new classes and flows, and I just felt like my heart wasn't in it anymore, and I didn't have my personal practice anymore because I was putting all my energy into teaching. And so I just let that go, and I was like, you know what, I have my whole life to teach. I can totally see myself teaching in the future. Like, I don't really have to rush it or force myself to, you know? And so yeah, I haven't taught in a couple years, but I do think about it. I do think about teaching again. I love being a student. That is where I am right now. Bottom line, I guess kind of the theme here is that I'm always evolving. I'm always changing. Like, I feel like I've lived so many different lives because of all the different things that I've tried in my life, the different hobbies, the different stages and phases of life that I've been in, the different interests that I've had. It's just like figuring out who I am and who I want to be, and I spent so much of my life just trying to fit in, and I feel like recently, the past couple years, it's the first time in my life that I'm actually just doing what I want to do and just being who I want to be, and like figuring out what I actually like, you know, not what I think I'm supposed to like or what I think I'm supposed to do. It's such a fulfilling journey, I feel like, to be on that path of self-discovery and just figuring out what you like. And I think it's a lot of tapping into your inner child and things that you liked when you were younger, because that's kind of like before you had all these judgments from the world on you. And I've just noticed that a lot of the things that have come up for me, or that I've just kind of like allowed myself to explore, are things that I was really into when I was a kid. Just like personality in general, I feel like my humor and personality has never really changed, like, since I was a kid. And I feel like the more that I am more myself, the more I feel like my inner child and who I was growing up before I felt like I needed to fit in and be perfect or be like everybody else and just kind of dull myself to fit in. And in real life, like, I'm very, I don't want to say silly, that sounds stupid, but like, I am very silly and very goofy. I just like to laugh. I like to have fun. I just make it my goal to be as authentic and genuine as possible. That's when I'm my happiest. I think that's when I make the people around me the happiest too. So yeah, it's a journey. I'm not perfect. I'm still really young, and, you know, excited to see where that takes me. That's kind of one thing I wanted to touch on in this video, because like I said, I guess I quit TikTok. I deleted the app. I stopped going on it. And after like a couple months, I would go on it on my laptop if I was looking up, like, TikTok is one of my favorite search engines, because if I'm looking up, like, for example, like rare beauty, blush shade, hope, like, I'll go on TikTok and I'll see all the people that have reviewed it on their skin tone or their skin texture, whatever it is, and it's such a good search engine review base. I don't know. So yeah, I would go on TikTok every now and then just to like look up things that I was considering buying, and now and then like it honestly became so dystopian. I don't know if anyone has had this experience of like deleting TikTok, not going on it for a while, and then going back on it and you're like, how the hell did I watch this shit? It's scary. I'm not even gonna lie, like that's the best way I can put it. I think it's scary. Sometimes I feel like off of the influencers just look soulless. Like they're just like soulless carbon copies of each other that have no depth or authenticity. I feel like so much of it is just like, and it's hard when you're watching TikTok every single day and you're consuming that content all day, every day. When you wake up from when you go to bed, it becomes very normalized. But if you are at the point where you are going on it a little too much, I suggest you take a break and just ground yourself, because you will have a reality check when you go back on that app. I just feel like 90% of it is people trying to sell you shit, and that was even before I deleted the app. I couldn't stand the TikTok shop girlies. Like, I'm sorry, I couldn't stand it. It was like every other video was just a sales pitch, and I'm just like, what am I doing, like consuming this content? And don't get me wrong, I respect the influencer hustle. I'm literally trying to make content creation into a full-time job, so of course I'm gonna need brand deals and I'm gonna be on that bandwagon, you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna make every single post a sponsored post, and I'm also not gonna lie just to make money. Like, there's just so many things I see in a lot of, especially big influencers, that I'm like, how are these people as big as they are? Like, there are some which are so incredible and I look up to so much and I love so much, and then there's some that I'm just like, how do these people have a platform? It just kind of makes me reflect on myself and kind of motivates me, I guess, to not be that way. Like, I want to try to show up as authentic and genuine as possible, and as vulnerable as possible too. I think that like there's a lot of things I want to share with my audience that, you know, I've struggled with or I've gone through, just so I can help somebody else, because I think I've gone to social media and especially YouTube in the past to help me with things that I've been struggling with and to connect with people that were going through the same thing and that could help you in any way. I think it's like just so honorable when people show up like that and offer, you know, their wisdom, guidance, and experience to help other people that have gone through similar things as them. So, you know, that's my goal with this channel. As much as I love makeup and beauty and fashion and all the things, I want to use my platform for good, and I have a very passionate, emotional side to myself that, you know, is gonna show through in anything that I do. I'm excited to kind of start sharing that side, because I haven't really, I mean, I just started posting and it's mostly just been like makeup and things like that. But this is my first kind of vulnerable get to know me video. So yeah, I don't know who is watching this, and I literally just hit 100 subscribers the other day, which I am so excited about. Like, honestly, I got so excited because everybody starts from zero. I'm just like learning to love the journey, you know what I mean? I'm just like enjoying this time right now that I have in the early stages and learning so much. Like, I'm already looking back at some of my videos and cringing, but you have to get over that. Like, that is literally a part of it. Everybody goes through it, and it's just fun, you know? Like, as serious as I'm taking this, oh my goodness. See, I get so distracted when I'm doing my eye makeup, and then I go like way too far. I just had to do my eyes really quick because I cannot talk at the same time. I'm the youngest of 3. I have an older brother and an older sister. My sister is 5 years older than me, and my brother is like 1 or 2 years older than me. I don't know why I always get so confused about that, because he technically is like born the year before me, but sometimes he can be like 2 years age-wise older than me. So sorry, bro. But my sister just had a baby in January, so I'm an aunt for the first time. I have literally the most perfect, gorgeous, beautiful niece on the planet. Sorry, but she's the cutest baby that I've ever seen in my life. So hopefully I get those genes too. I will not be having kids anytime soon. Almost done. I feel like I've been talking so much. I'm kind of running out of things to talk about because I've been doing my makeup so slow. The last thing I wanted to share with you guys is kind of like my sobriety. I guess I say sobriety in air quotes because technically I'm not like sober. Like I just don't drink, and I haven't for over 2 years. I actually just had my 2-year anniversary, I guess. I just decided to stop drinking. It was literally killing me. I drank a lot in college, like more than probably a human consumes in their lifetime. It was the culture. Honestly, at the time, I went to kind of like a party school and I had a great time. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun. Did I take it too far? For sure, many times. I think I burnt myself out. I think I burnt my body out, and especially because I went through so many changes after college, like lifestyle changing wise. You know, when I wasn't in college and when I wasn't in that environment, in that scene, obviously I wasn't drinking like that. And so when I moved home after college, like I don't think I drank for like 5 months. I remember I moved home a semester early and I went back for graduation like 5 months later, and it was the first time I drank since I left. Yeah, obviously I felt horrible because I hadn't been drinking for a long time, and so I kind of lost like my tolerance, and obviously was growing up too. Like people say the hangovers get bad when you're older, but they were not normal for me. After so long, I thought that I had an allergy. Like I thought I was allergic. It was like my body would shut down. The last time that I had a drink was right when I moved to Miami. I went on a date with this guy. We went to the baseball game, so they have those like big 12 or like 16-ounce beer cans. I like maybe had half of it. I was drinking it so slow. Literally drank half of that and I was hungover for 2 or 3 days. And that was the moment that I was like, okay, yeah, I can't do this anymore. My body can't do this anymore. This isn't normal. Like I can't even enjoy one drink or half a beer. Literally the best decision I could have made for myself. And it was a decision that I had been thinking about making for almost like over 6 months before that moment when I just completely stopped drinking. At that time, I was like maybe having a drink once a month. I didn't crave it. I didn't really enjoy it. It didn't do what it used to do for me. Like I felt like when I drank, it would give me anxiety. When I would drink, I would get like really anxious. I didn't feel like myself. Once I started to feel like I wasn't being myself, which it's so funny because that's literally the reason people drink. Once I got that feeling, it was like the worst feeling to me. I would get so paranoid and like so anxious that I was like being annoying, or that I was like just not myself. Like I just was not being myself. I hated that feeling. And so yeah, I just stopped drinking because it was doing more harm than good. The harm of me being hungover for 3 days, fighting for my life, being so just like a shell of a human, and then also while drinking, not even feeling like good or like buzzed or happy or whatever. There was just no benefit for me. I wasn't getting what other people got out of it, and it's the best decision I've ever made in my life. I haven't had a hangover in 2 years. I'm just listening to my body. That is like my #1 priority. I will say though, honestly, just this past year, I have felt the most comfortable going out and socializing without drinking. Like I think right when I quit, it wasn't that bad, but somewhere in the middle, I just felt like a year-ish in, a lot of the times I would go out, I felt like, oh, I wish I could have a drink. Like I wish that I could just text this person and meet up for a drink, because I just felt very socially awkward at one point in my life very recently, and I felt like, oh God, it would be so nice if I could just have a drink and it would just like take away that anxiety or take away that tension. I obviously was never gonna do it, but it just kind of felt like I kind of wish I could drink, you know what I mean? I don't know what changed, maybe my frontal lobe developing, but this past year I have just felt like so confident in just being myself too, because like when you're sober and you are like an adult and you're socializing and going out with people, like you have to be comfortable just being yourself. You don't really have that comfort blanket. Obviously that is always a work in progress. So yeah, I don't know how long I will go without drinking. It's crazy to think that it's been over 2 years. Time flies by for sure. I think all we have left is my lips, and I think that this is a perfect time to kind of close out. Just thank you guys for hanging out with me. If you stuck around, I know that I only have like 100 subscribers. I don't know who is watching this video. I don't know if anyone is watching this video. I'm hoping that I can look back at this video in the future and just see my growth and everything. I'm just so excited to be here and be able to share my energy with you guys and make some new friends and just build a community. Like, I have such a strong vision for my audience and the community that I want to build, and I just want authenticity. Like, I just want people to feel inspired to be themselves and be comfortable with being themselves and embrace duality. Like, you're allowed to be interested in so many different things. I feel like so many people just like niche themselves down or put themselves into a box, and it's like you're allowed to explore whatever interests you have. I am obsessed with makeup and clothing and all the girly things, but I also have this like very deeply emotional, passionate side to me where I love self-development, spirituality, just like being the best version of myself, and talking about mental health, talking about, you know, vulnerable topics. So yeah, I'm excited to just like create this space with you guys and make a bunch of new friends. So if you guys made it to the end of this video, please comment a pink heart and the sparkle emoji. I'm so excited to see this channel grow. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment something, whatever you want. Let's start a conversation. I want to meet you. I want to see who's watching. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.